The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free 800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and of course our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. The X-Zone store is open. We have tons of X-Zone merchandise. Everything from hats to T-shirts to office supplies, you name it, it's there. You can get the latest Relmar multimedia app for your Android system, for your, Kindle. That's right, the Fire Kindle. And Apple, 99 cents, one-time cost. You get all the features that you have to pay for separately because this is how we're bring everything into the modern ages. We're going to put everything on our app. And once you have the app, the X Chronicles newspaper is free. You can listen to the show free. And we have all other great stuff, including discounts on advertising with the X-Zone and advertising in the newspaper and saving some money at the store. At the X-Zone store. Once again, www.thexzonestore.com is where you can go to get all your great X-Zone Nation supplies. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Dan Perkins. He is a master storyteller and author of The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Trilogy, which centers around terrorism against the USA. Dan, first of all, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This is a very timely event. Have you always been kind of psychic?
I tell you, it's really scary. We're in the we're under an option contract for a movie for this book, and the producer and I have been wrote the screenplay, and I'm supposed to see the business plan tomorrow. Right. And we talk, many times a week, and he says, Dan, every time I turn on the television, it's like I'm reading your book. He said, either you're extremely lucky, or there's some powers of observation that some of us don't have. I think it is in all candor, Rob. It came as a gift from the Lord. Mm-hmm. We spend our winters on Sanibel Island, Florida, which is 6 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico. Right. And there's a facility there called the Big Arts Center that offers adult education programs. And they had this course introductory course to writing mysteries and thrillers. It was 4 classes. Mm-hmm. I walked in the first day, and the lady who was doing the course is a published novelist who's done 12 novels. She said, in 2 weeks if you can be a writer. And I said, how is that possible? So you could know in 2 weeks you'd be a writer. I mean, I've seen all these people who struggle forever and ever and ever, and they can never get a book done. So I said, okay. So I went home. The first night I wrote 1,000 words. wrote the title of the
Wow.
book, the main plot theme, and I knew how the book ended. So I went in the next week, and by that time I'd written 5,000 words. And I said to her, is it possible, you know my background, I have no education at all in creative writing, that I could know how the book ends? And she said, what do you mean? I said, I can see the last line in the last paragraph on the last page. She said, no, that's not normal. What I think happened, Rob, is that when I walked in that door, she threw a switch in my brain that had never been turned on.
Wow.
And it gave me a gift from the Lord. And I think part of the gift is this gift of observation to try and see what's going on through a different set of eyes in the world.
Well, as an investment advisor, isn't that what you do?
I've been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And still doing it.
So
people.
So basically, you look at what's going on in the world. You look at the news stories. You see where the financial curves are going, and this is how you base your decisions and how you advise your clientele as such. And you've just used that extremely keen power of observation that you obviously have, and put it into real-time events to write a book. Congratulations. You and I.
Three books.
3 books. It's a trilogy, you're right. Stand by, Dan. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. Exonation Dan Perkins is our very special guest this hour. We're talking about Dan's trilogy. It's entitled The Brotherhood of the Red Nile. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break in 2 minutes with Dan as he tells us about his book. And we'll see that fact, as I always say, is stranger than fiction. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to take a look at our new electronic bookcase, I love it. www.xzonebookclub.com. Dan Perkins is our guest. www.danperkins@sanibel.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Welcome back, everyone. My guest this hour is author and master storyteller Dan Perkins, and he presents the first book in his trilogy about terrorism against the United States. This first in the series, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile, A Terrorist Perspective, has propelled him to national acclaim with interviews on radio, television, and in print. With the second installment, The Brotherhood of the Red Nile, America Rebuilds, we get a closer look into the mind of an ingenious writer. Picking up where Book 1 ends, Book 2 delivers more intrigue and mystery while striking terror into the hearts of readers as we ask the question, how in the world can we stop this from happening? Now, Dan is a registered investment advisor with 40 years of experience and splits his time between New Jersey and Florida. The website is www.danperkins@sandoval.com. All right. Were you interested in current events, and why did you pick the topic of terrorism?
Well, yes, I've always been interested in current events, especially as you said in our last segment. I've invested money for 40 years all over the world, and so I've been keenly aware of what's going on around the world and what the possible implications might be for me and my clients if I invest money in a particular country.
Sure.
What's the political environment? What's the tax environment? And actually, my passion prior to this was the American Civil War. I've collected a whole bunch of books, first editions of people who actually lived and really studied the Civil War, not from the battle standpoint, just to find out how the people thought and what their reactions were and the decision-making process. But I think part of the root of why I chose this book, this concept for this book, is I live about 20... I used to say I live 20 miles due west of the World Trade Centers in New York City. And we don't say that anymore because they're not there. And in my little town, 1 square mile, we had 35 residents who were killed when the towers came down.
Oh, no.
And I think that was something that was, and I had friends who were working in the financial district who I couldn't get a hold of them for weeks, so I didn't know whether they were dead or alive. And very traumatic period for a lot of us in Jersey and Connecticut and eastern Pennsylvania. So it was very nerve-wracking for a long period of time. So I think that probably left an impression. And having visited Ground Zero over the years as they were trying to clean up the mess, and I think that left an impression in my brain. And but when I was sitting down to write, I think what I was realizing is that when the planes went into the World Trade Center, it came to me that terrorism is not about bringing down buildings. Terrorism is not about religion or philosophical belief. Terrorism is about money. It's all about money. And when the terrorists attacked the towers, the Twin Towers in New York, they didn't really want to bring down the buildings per se. That wasn't their objective. Their objective was to shut down the American capital market.
Yeah.
Because they believe, and they still believe today, you take away America's money or force it to redirect it into a different direction, you take away its power. And so, I mean, if you think about it, if you're in any of those cities in Iraq at the moment where ISIS is occupying, do you really think that there's any job in any of those cities that the people who are carrying the weapons could earn enough money to buy the weapon itself, much less the ammunition?
Of course not.
No. Somebody else somebody else is